Okay, well, you know what I'm doing today? Did they tell you? Oh, I bet. So, well, first off, thanks everybody for coming, and it's a real honor to be here. This is a great school district, and this is a great school, and wonderful children, and wonderful parents, and so it's a real honor today to sign the state budget. As you know, this year I've been the governor now for 15 months, and I've traveled the state and I've listened to families. And what families want is they want to make sure, they want three things out of their government. First, they want to make sure that their children can get a great education. And so in this budget I proposed, when I proposed the budget in December 8th, I proposed $1 billion additional for state funding for education. And thank goodness for our great legislature, President Herodopoulos, Speaker Cannon, and a lot of the local elected officials here, including, make sure I have everybody's name, see they're here, Senator Thrasher, Senator Wise, Representative Ronald, Representative Costello, Renoir, I guess it's Renoir. I always get that wrong. Anybody else? I got everybody. But all their support. So this budget is an education budget. I put over $1 billion more into education. I made sure we had more money for schools that are not performing as well. Make sure we had more money for reading. So it's one of the three things that if you think about the typical family in Florida they care about. Education for their children. Second, they want to make sure that the parents can get a job. You want to make sure your parents can get a job? Yeah. Really? I think everybody wants to make sure their parents can get a job. And so what we did with this budget is make sure businesses in Florida can prosper, or they can hire more people, buy more equipment, do more marketing, so they can sell more products. If we do all those things, then more parents are going to have jobs. So this budget reduced taxes, reduced regulation, made it easier to get permits. Right? And finally, we want to make sure that we don't raise the cost of living in our state. So one of the things we focused on is there's money that's wasted in auto accident mistakes and fraud. And so we passed a very good bill. It's personal injury protection that will reduce the growth rate and hopefully the cost of auto accident fraud. And the insurance companies are required to either reduce their rates down the road by 10% the first year, 25% the second year, or show us why not. So we have a great budget this year. It's putting a lot more money into education, over $1 billion, and it's for children, to make sure that we have the great education system. Now, does anybody know how a bill becomes law? Have you guys studied that?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
A little bit? All right, so here's how it works. And so, you guys like poster boards?
Kind of.
Kind of. All right. So here's how bill. Like, what if you decided that you thought that we ought to change something? Okay, that there was some new change that you said everybody had to do a certain thing. Have you ever thought of something like that? Well, if you do, here's how you do it. Then you go meet an individual, either a House member or a Senate member, and you say, because you know what, they get elected to go to the capital of the state, which is Tallahassee, and they get elected to go propose a bill. Okay, so they say, oh gosh, I got an idea, so I think I'm going to go try a bill. Okay, and then you have a smaller group of all the senators or the representatives, and they study it. And they say, gosh, does that make sense? I don't know. And they'll propose every year, something like, I think it's like 1,500 different bills will get proposed. And they'll study them and say, that's a good one or that's a bad one. And if it's a bad one, they'll say, oh, we're not going to pass that one. But if it's a good one, then they'll pass it out of the committee. So if you're ever if you ever go to work as a representative or a senator, then you'll get to make that decision. And then if it comes out, then it gets on a calendar to go before the House or the Senate. And it's got to propose. There's two groups of people, and they both have to pass it. And then the whole group debates it and sees where it makes sense. Okay, you've got to read it. And there's amendments. People try to tack on amendments that completely change the bill, things like that. Never happened, right? Then if it passes one of the places, you have a group of people that work at something called the House of Representatives, and another group called the Senate, and they've got to pass both ones. And it can pass either one first, and they can go to the other one, but it has to pass both of them. Okay? then people keep trying to change it, maybe to improve it, maybe to not make it, in some people's mind, maybe sometimes they make amendments, changes to it that don't make sense. Okay?
Been there.
Then, does that ever happen? Then if it passes both of them, it goes to the governor. Okay? And so if it comes to the governor, I've got a few days to decide whether I want to sign it or not. Okay? If I sign it, then it's the law. Then you're obligated to follow that law. So it's like there could be a law that says you have to walk only on the right-hand side of the street, or a law that says you can only walk on the left-hand side of the street, or a law that you have to eat broccoli every day. What do you think about that?
No.
That'd probably be one of the ones that shouldn't pass. You like broccoli?
Every day, but not broccoli.
But not broccoli, okay. That probably wouldn't be the bill that you would want to sign, right? No, not your first choice. But if it was to have ice cream at lunch every day, that would be a pretty good bill. Or how about a donut every morning? So, but the governor gets to either sign or not sign the bill. If the governor says, I don't like the bill, okay, then it doesn't become law unless it goes back to the House of Representatives and the Senators and a bigger group of them decide to pass it. Then it can still become a law. Okay? So you want to see how a law, then what you do when you pass the law and the governor decides to sign it, then we have something like this where we'll have a bill signing. So that's what I'm going to do now. So you want to see how a bill's signed? All right? You ready? So first off, when I introduce those individuals, they're the ones that are House members and Senate members, so they represent you. So if you want to have a bill that says you have to eat broccoli every day, that's the group to talk to. Or you have to have ice cream every day, that's the group to talk to. Okay? Does that make sense?
Take the ice cream.
Okay.
Broccoli flavor.
All right. Or that everybody has to have a puppy dog. No, okay, that's not a good one. All right. All right. So we're gonna do the bill sign.